Hey YouTube, today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite EDC knives that I actually carry, and it's the one you see in the foreground there, the metal handle with the gray TrackTech inserts. This is a Byrd Catbyrd titanium. I think it's BY18TI is the actual model number, and I show it there with a couple of Spydercos that we'll get to as far as size comparisons in a moment. And what I wanted to point out too is the box. As you see it, most of the Byrd line has a green and black and I think a gray color scheme, very similar to the Spyderco boxes that you see. But just like early on in Spyderco's business, when they were selling knives, the Byrds actually come in a very plain box. So this is one of the earlier models from the Byrd line, and that's why you see just the plain white cardboard box. So let's go ahead and take a look at this really quick. So there were two models of this particular design made. You've probably seen Pavlov Sandor has a video out on the regular model, which was a steel handled model with a frame lock, and it had black TrackTech inserts. So there are three things that are obviously different about this model. One, this one uses 9CR18MO steel rather than the usual Chinese steel of 8CR13MOV. The inserts here are gray instead of black, and then as you can see right here, this is a liner lock model rather than the frame lock. Interestingly, you can kind of get a glimpse right there. They have screws that go from the outside in that actually hold the liner into the titanium scale on this side. This is a beautiful drop point blade with a slight recurve there that you see. And of course, as you would expect, this is a Sal Glesser design. So let's go ahead and I'll move some of these boxes. One of the things that supposedly this model was somewhat modeled after is the Spyderco Stretch, which is also a Sal Glesser design. And as you look at them, they're very similar in overall size. Approximately a 3.5-inch blade on the Catbyrd, which is exactly what the Stretch is. Here's a Sage 2, again titanium. Let's see how well I can do this. See the size there? It is overall, it's much larger, as you've probably seen in many of my videos, and I'll say it again here. I do prefer larger EDC knives, so the Catbyrd for me is actually kind of on the lower end for me, even though I do have plenty of smaller blades. And then the last comparison I wanted to make was with one of the hottest designs that Spyderco has currently, the Manix 2. Let's see if I can do this a little better here. You can see there again, it's really about the same overall size, and really, even though it may have been designed closely to the Stretch, in my opinion, it's much more analogous to the Manix 2. Alright, so let's talk a little more about the Catbyrd. There you can see I've got it in macro mode now. Take a look at the blade. That is a trademark comet hole for the opening facility on these. It's actually about the size of a 12 or 13 millimeter Spyderco round opening hole. Of course, it is a trademark, so that's why it's not round. It's alright. It always looks like a bird's beak to me, and it's not a problem to actually use it as far as opening. And again, there it talks about the steel in the blade, 9CR18MO, It's a steel that they've only used in 2 knives, and as far as I believe, I think Spyderco is the only company that's actually used that particular steel. There it is, made in China. The Byrd line is all made in China. Registered, I guess is for the comment hole actually. And then there you see Sal Glesser's Maker's Mark, SAL. Nice pocket clip. This works really well. It's pretty much standard. Looks like a lot of pocket clips and a lot of the earlier Spyderco clips as well, before they started going to the hourglass designs and wire clips. Pretty good size pivot on it. Like I said, this is a titanium scaled handle, so you can see I do carry this one, and it's got plenty of character in the way of scratches. Turn that in. You can see there's the liner and the screws, which are actually right there underneath the clip. Actually secure the liner lock itself, which is steel, into the titanium, and it rides in that channel right there. Great lockup. That was not out of the box, unfortunately, and that's probably one of the most disappointing things when I actually got this model, was the fit and finish was not very good. And unfortunately, I think that was you know, just a product of being from the Chinese market. Not that they can't produce a quality blade, but the consistency to produce that quality blade every time sometimes is not there. And I bought this on sale actually, and I bought it, I think it was $30 at the Spyderco factory outlet just over a year ago, about 13 months ago. So I couldn't complain too much for what I paid for it, being titanium and a unique steel. A couple of other things that I had to do was I completely disassembled this knife. I did leave the liner leaf inside that right-sided handle, but I polished along the actual tang itself. I cleaned that up, and I had to tighten it actually to get it to actually center well, which it centers now, but it's very stiff because of the amount of tension I need in order to do that. This is definitely not a knife that I can flick open. It's just too tight, but it has that kind of hydraulic feel to it, a little stiff. It kind of reminds me of some of the problems that people complained about with the Boker Epicenter model, you know, especially with the titanium handles. I'm not completely positive, but I think maybe these are not exactly aligned or the same size. I think some of it has to do with that stop pin right there. What I started noticing was that that stop pin is not exactly perpendicular to the scales. It kind of is shifted a little. I think that's what caused some of the problems as far as like blade centering and things like that. These scales are not exactly plumb with each other, and that caused some problems. But like I said, I've been able to overcome that. Just a little tinkering myself, disassembling the knife and reassembling it. Interestingly enough, something that I thought was a little odd as well is this particular standoff, open construction of the knife. With this standoff, there's a screw on this side, there's a screw here for this standoff, a screw on this side for that most rear standoff. But for this one, it seems that that screw is under the Track Tech insert. So, like I said, kind of interesting. So if I really wanted to completely disassemble this knife, I'd have to try and figure out how to get to that screw, which I assume is a screw down there. I don't even know. There's a lanyard tube. So overall, not a bad knife. And again, one that I actually like carrying, and because of some of the flaws in it, I don't feel like making this a safe queen. And so every once in a while I go ahead and throw this in the pocket and use it. Alright. Well, so that's my video on the titanium Catbyrd. If you got any questions or comments, you know what to do. Leave them down below. Thanks.